In this demo, we will learn how we can invoke generic methods. We don't have a generic method yet, so the first thing we want to do is add one. But we do have a class to which we can add it to, our result of t class. Generic methods are methods that are declared with type parameters. So let's add a method, alter and return value. It accepts something of type S as input and it returns something of type T. A use case for this might be having this method accept a string, which is then concatenated to one of the properties of type T before type T is returned. How do we call this then? Finding the method itself isn't hard. We already know how to do that. We pass the name to the getMethod method and we should get something of type methodInfo back. So let's write that out. Let's give this a try. Now this is interesting. We see that the compiler already knows that the return value is of type person. That makes sense because we passed that through as generic type argument when we made the result type generic. What we could also see is that it didn't yet know about S. There's no type information for that yet. Let's assume we want to pass through an employee. So that means that S will be of type employee. We call invoke and we pass through an object on which to invoke this method. That is our previously created result instance. As a second parameter, we pass through a parameter list with one parameter, our employee object. Let's give that a try. And that doesn't seem to work. The reason why this doesn't work is that we didn't make the method generic yet by passing through the employee type. Just as makeGenericType exists on a type, makeGenericMethod exists on methodInfo. So, before calling invoke on methodInfo, we first make it generic. We execute that by passing through the type employee. Calling invoke on it is then exactly the same as calling invoke on a non-generic methodInfo. Let's give this a try. And there we go. This works as expected. So this is how you can invoke generic methods. Let's continue with a real-life use case.